There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And the people who confuse those two words are losing entire years of their life to relationships that should have ended back in 2019. Because loneliness is not a circumstance, it's a feeling. You could be lonely in a crowded room. You could be lonely in a relationship. You could be lonely sitting next to someone who has been sleeping next to you for 4 or 5 years. And you could also be completely beautifully alone on a Saturday night with a cup of coffee and a book and feel more at peace than you've ever felt in a decade. The problem is, nobody in your life ever taught you the difference, right? Your parents probably did not teach you. Your friends did not teach you. Your Instagram definitely did not teach you. But by the end of this video, I'm going to teach you how to be alone without being lonely, right? I'm going to tell you why you have been running from yourself this whole time and how to actually enjoy your own company for maybe the first time in your life. Now, before I get into this, I want to be very clear. I am not a licensed therapist or psychologist. I'm just someone who shares life and relationship advice here on YouTube. Now, what I share on this platform, it comes from what I've seen, what I've lived, what I've researched, and what I've learned from, people that face adversity in relationships or life who trusted me with their stories, right? So with that being said, let's not waste any more time and let's unpack this video. Now, I need you to understand that alone is a place. And lonely is a feeling. Let me say that again. Alone is a place. Lonely is a feeling, right? Alone is your couch on a Friday night with no plans. Lonely is what you feel sitting at a dinner table with people who do not really see you. Alone is the empty side of the bed. Lonely is the warm side of the bed where the person no longer wants to be near you. Do you see the difference? One is just a room. The other is a wound. And most of us have been, mixing these two up our whole lives. We see an open Friday or Saturday night on our schedule and we treat it like a problem that we need to fix ASAP, right? We treat being alone like a disease when really it's the cure for almost every bad decision that we keep making. Here's what happens. The second that you have a quiet moment with yourself, your brain panics. Why? Because most of us have never actually met ourselves, right? We have been performing for our parents, then our friends, then our partners, then our followers. We've been performing our entire lives. We've been so busy being who everyone needed us to be that the second that nobody's watching, we don't even know who's in the mirror anymore. So of course you reach for the phone. Of course you call somebody. Of course you turn on a show that you've already seen twice. The phone is not your friend in that moment. The phone is your getaway driver. It pulls up to the curb the second that things get real, and then it drives you away from yourself once again. Real quick, if you're getting any value out of this video or if you got value out of any of my past videos, then you need to go follow me on Instagram. I try to post daily reels and stories over there that, most of them never make it here on YouTube. I promise you, your feed will thank you, and so will I. I'm going to leave a link to my Instagram down in the description below and on the pinned comment as well. But let's continue with this video because it only gets better from here. I need you to understand that being alone is a skill, just like driving a car, just like cooking, just like riding a bike. Right? You're not born good at it, and nobody handed you a manual. So if you're not good at it yet, then it means it's just a muscle that you have not built. The good news is you can start building it today, right now, and every single day from this point forward. So how do you build it? Well, you start small. You sit on your couch for 15 minutes with no phone, just you, just the room, just whatever your brain wants to say. It's going to feel awkward at first, like a really bad first date with yourself where, neither of you knows what to talk about. And that's okay. Sit through it anyway. Then make it 20 minutes, then 30. Then take yourself to coffee, take yourself to dinner, take yourself on a whole trip. You see, dating yourself is a survival skill because the day that you can take yourself to a steak dinner, order a glass of wine and look around and actually enjoy the meal, without checking your phone 12 times just to feel less awkward, well, that is the day that you become unshakable. No one can ever lonely you out of a decision again. Now, if you cannot stand your own company for 1 hour, then you have no business asking anybody else to stand it for a lifetime. You see, I believe the fear of being alone is the number one reason people stay in bad relationships. I believe a lot of people don't stay in toxic relationships because of love, They stay because they are scared of what their life looks like with no notifications, right? With no warm body on the couch, with no built-in plans for the weekend. So they pick miserable but together over alone but free. There's a verse in the Bible, Mark 1:35, that says Jesus got up very early in the morning while, it was still dark, and he went off to a quiet place to pray. Even Jesus, the most loved man who ever walked this earth, he did not avoid being alone. He went looking for it, right? Luke chapter 5 says he did it often. He needed it because solitude is not where you go when nobody wants you. Solitude is where you go to remember who you are before the world tells you who to be. Now, I want you to understand that solitude, it's not punishment. Solitude is preparation. Now, I firmly believe that the more comfortable you get being alone, the better every single relationship in your life starts to get. Because now you're not showing up to people, empty-handed, begging them to fill you up. You're showing up full. You're not dating from a place of hunger anymore. The needy version of you who used to text first, then check their location on Find My Friends, that version finally starts to die. And in its place, you start to grow into a person with peace. A person who would rather be home alone than out with the wrong people. Know that you will never become whole if you keep using other people to fill your holes. Now, I know that kind of sounded weird, but you know what I mean. But in all seriousness, it is my opinion that the reason silence feels like an attack is because the second that the noise stops, well, you have to meet yourself. I'm talking about the version of you that is tired, the version of you has been ignored, the version of you that has, been pushed to the back of the line for everyone else's needs for the last, 5-10 years. And that meeting is uncomfortable, right? And it's supposed to be. But it's also the only door to actually changing your life, because you don't need to heal at a party. You don't need to heal scrolling TikTok. You don't need to heal in somebody else's bed. You heal in the quiet. You heal in the boring hours. You heal in the Sunday afternoon when nobody's watching. You heal by watching my YouTube video, so make sure you subscribe. But understand that solitude is the laboratory where you become somebody worth loving. So this week, I want you to try one thing. 1 hour, 60 minutes. No phone, no TV, no background noise. Just you, coffee, and a window. And see what comes up. Some of you will cry. Some of you will laugh. Some of you will be, bored out of your mind for 58 minutes and then have the deepest thought of the year in the last 2. But trust the process, because the person that you have been running from your whole life, well, they have been waiting to actually meet you. And the second that you stop running, well, they finally get to introduce themselves. And as always, if you got any value out of this video, well, then you know what to do. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And please, share this video with anyone that you know that can benefit from hearing this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.